Hi.
Hi.
Morning, how are you?
Good, how are you?
So, some of you have probably seen you already.
Oh, yeah.
And for some of my audience,
Yes.
I would like you to introduce yourself.
Okay, awesome. Hey guys, my name's Brooke. I'm a grade 2 flight instructor at the Airways Australia base at the Gold Coast.
Amazing. So, you said grade 2, right?
Yes.
So, maybe that's not a terminology we use back in Europe and Middle East. So, what's the difference between grade 1, grade 2, and grade 3?
So in Australia, the instructor ratings get ranked, I guess, kind of similarly to the airlines, and they have their rankings. So your grade 1 would almost be equivalent to like your captain, your grade 2 would be equivalent to like your FO, and then your grade 3 would be like your second officer.
So, in a flight school, grade 3 is the starting point?
Yeah, it's your starting point. Yeah.
Oh,
So the most restricted side of it.
Honestly, I thought grade 1 was the starting and grade 2
You'd think so.
and grade 3.
It
right?
would make more sense to everyone involved, but yeah, it's actually the opposite. So the lower the number, the more important you are.
So you see, that's something amazing because I've been with Airways Aviation Academy for 9.5 years and I had no idea
Oh, really?
that it was the other way around.
I'm just in the middle, so you can't get it wrong. It's fine.
All right, so thank you so much
No, of course.
for talking to us today. And I want to know a little bit more about your pilot training. So
Oh, yay.
before you became an instructor, or let's go back a few years before that. So why did you decide to become a pilot to begin with?
Oh, I am a cliche. My dad was a captain, a 747 captain for Qantas, and my mum was a flight attendant for Qantas. So I grew up on planes. I saw dad doing it, and I just always wanted to.
I don't think so. I've heard many with such a similar story. A lot of pilots I've interviewed or met are normally, I've never had anyone who was a pilot in my family. And then,
Really?
So I think back in the Middle East and Europe, where I've spent most of my time, most of the pilots who end up becoming pilots are those who have never had a pilot in their family.
Okay, so I'm not a cliche.
So where I come from, you're not.
I'm checking. Yeah, perfect.
So
Yes, that was it. I just saw dad doing it all the time. I thought it was cool.
Wow.
I'm his favorite child.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure
yeah.
about that. All right. So I've heard from your students that you're quite a cool instructor, and I think I can see that.
Yes, you will attest to this, right?
So moving on, right? So if you're talking to a student who hasn't started his procedures yet, admissions procedures yet, what would be that one advice to motivate him to keep going, follow his dream? What would you say? Something similar?
Oh, I usually try to be honest with them. It's not the easiest of tasks. I was always warned by my dad that it's constant study. So I always warn them about the workload. But I always like to tell them it's the coolest office in the world. You're never going to get bored. You see some really cool things. It's always a lot of fun. It's not as dangerous or as scary as everyone thinks. So yeah, that's usually the two avenues I go down to. And like, it is hard work. You do have to earn it, but it's worth it. Because the view out the window, you're never going to get bored, ever.
And if someone wants to complete their commercial pilot license and pursue a career as an instructor,
Yes.
is that something you would advise?
Yeah, I love it, especially for at least in Australia. If you wanted to get into like charter or anything like that, we call it whoop whoop. You're gonna have to move somewhere rural. So if you want to stay in a hub city, it's a really good one. The hours are nice. It's a lot more social, especially if you like teaching. It combines really nicely. I really, really enjoy it. The hours are normal. I get to work with people.
And also, does it create a pathway into an airline?
Yeah, at the moment, well, I've always been told airlines love flight instructors. You already have right-hand seat capability, which makes it nice. Your theory is a lot stronger. And then I know in Australia, they changed the regulations recently for any check and training captain in an airline, you now must have a flight instructor rating.
Wow.
Which has only been around for about 2 years. So it's just like an extra
I had no
pathway.
idea.
Yeah, it's
honestly,
really new.
just talking to you for the last 2 minutes, I'm actually learning so much more.
It's almost like I'm an instructor.
All right, so one last thing, right? So before we end this, thank you so much for being part of this interview.
Thanks for visiting,
But before we end this, right? So if you're talking to one of these students who is really struggling through his pilot training, maybe there's a student out there who's stuck in his solo stage and he's unable to crack his solos and he's really struggling. What would you tell him?
Everyone does it. I failed my first solo 3 times. I failed my PPL. My dad failed his CPL and he flew for Qantas for 43 years. It is not the end of the world. You will get there. Just keep trying. Reset mentally, reset the aircraft. So every time I do a touch and go, I always tell my students, reset the aircraft, reset yourself and go again.
Thank you so much. I think that was literally the most amazing advice. And thank you so much for being so honest and humble.
Thank you. Yes.
Had a great time talking to you. Thank you so much.